In June of 2020, several ECHO team members took part in the ECH Reflections in Art, an optional arts-based and narrative activity which accompanied the 2020 AGM. Since its launch, the ECHO Network has been committed to using arts-based and narrative approaches to reflect on and document what the team has learned about working together across different sectors and places. The activity asked ECHO members to submit media that demonstrated environment, community, health integration, responding to the prompt, "What does environment, community, and health integration mean for you?" 9 team members participated in this activity. The following digital story is a glimpse of the rich and diverse expressions in art submitted by ECHO team members, which have been adapted to fit the time constraints of this digital story. Full-length submissions will be found on an upcoming Reflections in Art page on the ECHO Network website. This digital story was made by team members living in diverse geographies, and we respectfully acknowledge that this video was recorded on the unceded traditional and ancestral territories of the Lheidli, Secwepemc, and Mi'kmaq people. This arts-based and narrative piece was provided to the team prior to the activity as an example of an expression of ECH integration. Applying 3 distinct yet mutually inclusive lenses to develop more holistic ways of knowing is challenging. Several submissions depicted the challenges associated with environment, community, and health integration.
A portion of this poem reads, "Environment, Community, Health Observatory, eliminating class, sex, racism has not yet been obtained. Even crying has obligations. Enter collective havens of learning. Elementary, courage, helps to offset pain, eager to change the hunger and outrage." This is the flow of our progress. Sometimes we're floating on a placid part of the river. Sometimes we're boldly going into treacherous waters, sending our vanguard kayaker ahead.
Arrêtons de voir les changements climatiques comme un mythe. C'est une réalité qui touche toutes les communautés. Et celles qui la vivent peuvent en témoigner. Un régime impérialiste qui détruit, sape et déstabilise ne sera jamais considéré comme une économie. Et donc, dans ce sens, le capitalisme n'est pas une économie. Pour vivre en fonction de la capacité des limites planétaires, il faut complètement changer le système économique actuel. L'économie de la nature, pour Alain de nous, devra être un cheval de bataille. Elle doit revenir au centre de la conscience.
Many submissions spoke to ECH harms and benefits. ECH harms depicted included the ways in which environment development and resource extraction can negatively impact health. This sculpture was composed of 5 elements that were included to represent symbolic components of a system. The rocks. The flat, dark, igneous rocks at the back of the piece signifies the deep rocky formations of the earth and interfaces with the wound stick, man's industry. Climate change driving many of our ecosystem changes is also represented by the suggestion of invasive species and algae on the court. While biking on back roads east of Prince George, we passed some massive power lines. I started thinking about how the environment community health nexus is about energy, where it comes from, what we do to the earth and to each other to get it, and what we put it into, and how that affects us.
En 2014, le gouvernement du Québec et l'entreprise Trainees annoncèrent la construction d'une cimenterie à Port Daniel Gasson. Bien que la cimenterie sera désignée comme étant la plus importante émettrice de gaz à effet de serre du Québec, avec 1,76 million de tonnes par année, le projet ciment Trainees refusa de se soumettre à l'analyse du Bureau d'audience publique sur l'environnement.
Assets associated with ECH integration were also expressed, such as eco-social factors which foster health. While hiking on the traditional territory of the Katzie First Nation, I reflected that trails can have a positive effect on human health and well-being through increased physical and mental health benefits that come from being in nature. Trails have increased my prioritization of environmental issues in the research I conduct, in the work that I want to do, and in the political choices that I make. The string is symbolic of our identities and impact as humans. The shells, life in the ocean. The sticks, life on land.
Even the most obscure parks in my neighborhood have become gathering places in these days of physical distancing. I can't help but wonder if people will continue to build community in these outdoor spaces that has eluded them for so many years.
This is my 3 sisters' corn, beans, and squash garden, planted on Haudenosaunee and Huron-Wendat territory. I've only got the corn planted so far, in the north, south, east, west arrangement customary to the Haudenosaunee way to honor the 4 directions and winds associated with them. The garden is a mental, physical health and wellness strategy for me during a pandemic, and at least in theory, a step towards better relationships and ways of being than those inherent in conventional development models and related complicit, entangled institutional structures.
The prairie crocuses are incredibly beautiful native prairie flowers that teach me so much about what it truly means to be of this place. You cannot exist outside of the symbiotic relationships that help sustain your life. You will only survive if you practice reciprocity with the community of which you are a part.
Several pieces spoke to the theme of knowledge to action. These submissions particularly articulated the strength of community in mobilizing collective ECH action.
This poem reads, "Health, environment, to become resilient, it takes a village." These are screenshots showing some of the very fulsome Padlet of glimpses of environment, community, and health connections in the COVID era. While there are many pieces of wisdom within the Padlet, this picture talks about the opportunity to collectively move forward in a new normal.
I see the bead representing that single purpose, North Star, or constellation of stars that is drawing the project forward.
Le 27 septembre 2019, plus de 2000 personnes se sont regroupées au centre-ville de la ville de Moncton pour la marche mondiale pour le climat. Les communautés ont exprimé leurs désirs et leurs peurs sur la situation de notre belle planète. Croyons en notre force en tant que communauté et individu. Les systèmes centraux de la nature sont les écosystèmes. Les écosystèmes sont en symbiose et tout le temps en mouvement. Ils essayent de mieux qu'ils peuvent de s'adapter, de se restaurer tout en faisant face aux catastrophes naturelles et à l'activité humaine. Sans eux, la nature nous offrirait un tableau assez terne et pauvre à regarder. En 2003, plusieurs personnalités se sont jointes aux 2000 opposants afin de s'opposer à la construction d'un incinérateur de déchets à Bellevue. Cet incinérateur était destiné à décontaminer des sols importés des États-Unis. Les différentes manifestations ont réussi à freiner la réalisation du projet Bennett.
The garden keeps me physically healthy and active and is a massive part of my mental health care. I have gotten to know so many of my neighbors simply by being outside so much, which has helped me build a real sense of community here. And living my values in action through composting, planting for pollinators, and growing food organically is a pretty special opportunity. This is my mini compost collection program with friends in town who want to compost but don't have the space.
Activities was conducting interviews with elders, knowledge holders, and also other folks in the community with close and deep connection to the land. And we learned a lot in these interviews, but we wanted to share that the final question that we asked in these interviews was, what message would you leave for your children or grandchildren around climate change? And so we took those messages and we created a beautiful quilt and really visualized these messages in that quilt. And I did also want to share that, really important to our project has been the inspiration and the wisdom that Liz has brought and her story.
The remaining bit of this poem reads, "Environment, community, health, observatory. Each culture's home is our future. Every crack holds opportunity. Each crippling horror offers insight, equity, creates hopeful options. Ecosystems carry humanity's origins. Environment, community, health, observatory." The ECH Expressions in Art activities, team members leveraged art-based and narrative methods, allowing them to showcase diverse and unique observations of the ECH integration. The ECH Expressions in Art embodied the application of an integrative ECH lens in a variety of places and contexts.
We'd like to extend a warm thank you to all of the ECHO team members who contributed to this digital story through sharing their art expressions, offering guidance, edits, technical support, and much more. We'd also like to thank Kim Gucci for generously allowing us to play her song, Waniska, during this digital story project.